Alfie is a WOR race winner.
Jensen makes it 5 in a row.
Danny Berejnay wins on debut.
Shanaka returns to winning ways in WOR.
Season 12 sees a new man. It's Shadow. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jensen is the new king of PlayStation.
From the back row of the grid, against all odds, Nicholas Longy wins the title.
Goes past the safety car.
What has gone on here?
Bowman spins.
Stunning move from the Spaniard.
He's taken out Rambo. Here comes Longy.
We're going 4 wide down to turn 1.
Oh, he's taking him out.
The captain riders collide.
Tomek to the inside.
Shadow wins the Brazil.
Absolutely sensational.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WOR. We are at the Bahrain International Circuit for round 2 of this 13th season in WOR. I am joined once again by Mr. Darkkiller, or Ryan Jacobs, the esports challenger himself of last season, the legend that he is. I mean, after round 1, what can we say? That was entertaining in itself, but we've got another one here. It's still hot and sweaty in the UK, so we're hoping these guys can pull something on the track that is just, I would like to say cool, but it's going to be incredible no matter what. Anyway, enough about me. Ryan, welcome along. This is going to be a good one, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. Bahrain always is entertaining. Like I said on my tweet earlier today, the social race, if you can cast your mind back to that, was certainly an interesting one. There's 2 safety cars, I believe. So many crashes, so we've got to take a little bit of a look back at that one. I'm expecting some drama here again tonight, but the racing around Bahrain is always very, very entertaining, and it's usually one of the best ones on the calendar, so we really should be in for a really good bit of action here tonight. And remember, we've got a different format as well, and I'll let you talk a bit more about that one.
So obviously we're following the full F1 season as well. We're throwing some sprint races into the mix here. We've got a short qualifying to set us off. The usual qualifying setup we've got here with the guys trying to get the fastest lap in. And then it's that, the 10-lap race that we see, or, it is the 10-lap race here for Bahrain, where they're going to try and get themselves into a decent position. And, we've saw... Was it Bahrain before? I can't remember which track it was that we did the social race, and WR Matthew was absolutely incredible in the sprint race and fell away at the feature.
Yeah, that was Spa. That was the one where we saw that master class happen. So it'll be interesting to see how he'll be able to do here again tonight. Obviously, there's been other leagues, and these drivers would have obviously been tweaking their setups for this one as well. But this should be a really close bit of racing, and we saw, if we take our mind back to that Spa race, we can definitely take it with a pinch of salt of what we should expect for the race here. A lot of drivers didn't take many risks in that social race, and I feel like that'll be the same here again tonight. I don't feel like any of these drivers will really be putting anything out there which could cost them a few positions, and they could really lose out on it. So I feel like safety for the first for the sprint qualifying will be what we'll be seeing here tonight.
Definitely, and well, it was, kind of inevitable, really. FRA Elite winning last time out. I mean, did we really see him stretch his legs? Do we think that was his full capability, or do you think he's got more in the tank?
Oh, I think he still has more in the tank, that's for sure. I feel like he was in a bit of cruise control the other week at Austria. He certainly wasn't really flexing the guns too much, because at one point Cypher nearly got back into the DRS range, and then when he felt a bit of pressure, he went, right, I'll open up the gap again, and that's what he did all race long. He controlled his pace, start to finish. He was never under any pressure, and that's a sign of a great driver. And I feel like tonight, again, there's a bit more pressure on him simply because of this sprint qualifying, and he would not want to make a mistake in that sprint qualifying, which could end him at the back of this grid for the actual race. And this is what you've got to be careful of, is taking too many risks in this sprint qualifying can cost you dearly when it comes to the actual big scoring race.
I think one of the big talking points from Austria for us, M Racer, only getting 2 points, one of the fastest guys on the grid, could really challenge Elite, I feel, at certain points of the track. He really did turn it off after that, one of those safety cars that we had, but just seemed to get himself into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, for sure. And Elite had that really good safety car restart when he pulled about 8 tenths, I believe. It was on Smokey, who was really caught out into the penultimate corner. And that's the thing. Safety car restarts can decide a race in some aspects if you can pull out the gap and use some of that ERS or use none at all, and that is just can really work your magic for you, to be fair. And one driver that had a very good race before he unfortunately spun was WR Matthew. Believe it was turn 4 on the exit. He just lost it on the power, and Bahrain has been one of his better tracks, shall we say. And it'll be interesting to see how he'll be able to do here again tonight.
Now, just a quick reminder of how the league looks after one round. That's the Austrian Grand Prix. They are now on track for qualifying. And first up is the man you've just been speaking about, and that's WR Matthew. Not getting the names mixed up at all here. It'll be interesting to see how he responds to that sort of pressure that he's put on himself.
Yeah, for sure. He has such a high standard, does Elite, and I feel like everybody has that high standard for him, and he's got to deliver to the expectations, as a lot of drivers are obviously looking up to him at the minute and seeing how they can close down the gap to Elite, and that's no easy task, because he has just been setting world record after world record in wet, dry conditions. He's been all over the place, and it'll be interesting to see, again, like we say, it's only been one round. Will he be able to deliver again and put up another dominant display? We've got a long qualifying, obviously, ahead here, and I'm pretty sure we'll find out the answer right at the end.
Yeah, if anyone can pull it together, I reckon Matthew can. He's got some. He's in tier 1 for a reason. Any of these guys can put it together when they need to. Obviously, it was great to see LCR Leopard as well in decent points as well. But that does bring me to unfortunately news that TRL Martin is not going to be here because of broken pedals, I believe. So gutting for him in the McLaren driver. But we do have Chandler Cieta and Axe in that McLaren today. With it's a bit of a heavy weight to hold, isn't it? TRL Martin is such a big name.
Yeah, he is, and it's such a shame to really lose out on him, to be honest, because one pedal break and it's all over for him. And he did say he had the pedals for over 4 years, so it's no real surprise that they have finally given up on him now. But hopefully he can get them repaired, and he'll be back again next week for the next round, which I'm not up to date with. I don't have the calendar in the back of my head. But yeah, Martin, again, he had that disappointing Austria race, and you would hoping for him to bounce back here tonight, but unfortunately we ain't going to witness that, and I'm sure Martin would just be as gutted as we are, because he did sound a bit confident for tonight's race. And Smokey setting the fastest lap of the session so far, and obviously this is very early going, but promising signs from a few of these drivers. And again, track evolution, as I mentioned last week, really does ramp up a lot more on this game than it did in previous games.
As PSR Nick going quickest of all. Unfortunately, I do have the calendar, especially next week's, in the back of my head, and that is the Miami Grand Prix. Agonisingly close times between Sider and Chandler Sieta there. Here comes Elite as he crosses the line for the first time in qualifying. It's pole by at least 2.5 tenths of a second, and showing a little bit of intent there, I think, already is FRA Elite. Let's see what his teammate can do. Not the best of races last time out for FRA Placky, but he's going to do his best as he comes down the last corner and down the start-finish straight for the first time to set a lap time. It's a 127.8, sorry. So a little bit more confident that he looked last time out in Austria, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's a very promising banker indeed. Over 2 tenths clear off his closest rival of Wilson, and it's promising to say the least. But it's easy to get 1 lap on the board. Be interested to see how he develops the lap times as we go on into this session. I'm sure he'll be able to keep chucking in those flying lap times. On board with WR Lucas now, who's approaching up to the line now. DRS wide open. See what he can do, and it's a 128.024. Nothing too special, but a time on the board to say the least. On board now with Leopard in the Alfa Romeo, coming up to the final corner now. He had a great race at Austria last weekend, getting some big points after starting, I believe it was 19th, where he is now currently. He's looking very, very sharp on his return now. Bit more practice this time around, and now up the line, it's up into P5. So nicely done there from Leopard on his return again to WR, looking to score some big, big points once again.
He's looking really well. As bankers go, he's right in there with WR Wilson, really. Not much time difference between a lot of these drivers at the moment. There's a fair few little clusters of cars, let's say, that are looking quite strong. But here's PSR Connor around the last 2 corners. He's taking a little bit extra curb on the exit. I wonder if that's going to hamper his lap time a little bit. Across the line, it doesn't. It's P4 for the Ferrari man, and that is a pretty solid lap for him. And good to see a Ferrari up towards the top in qualifying here for WR. But if it's anything like the real F1, their strategies might get it wrong. But sorry to the Ferrari fans out there. But Axe then is on a lap. Let's see what he can do, because he had some great 1-lap pace last week.
Yeah, he did, and remember setting the fastest banker lap time that even Elite couldn't match early on, but he just could not improve on that lap time throughout qualifying, and it really unfortunately set him backwards for the rest of it. So Axe maybe has been probably working on the race pace rather than the qualifying pace here tonight, because that's where he struggled at Austria. So let's find out what he'll be able to do. Round the final corner once again, up into 5th gear, using all the track available, opening DRS once again, and it's a 128.1. So not like last time where he's dominating that qualifying, down in P14. A lot of time to be fine though for Axe if he wants to be challenging for the top 5 like he was last week.
Yeah, a lot of time to be found if he wants to be doing that. We're just trying to find another driver that could be on a lap time for us. And you know what? I haven't put tyres on for people to see. It's quite obvious that they'll be going to softs for this qualifying, I think. I don't know who to go on board with. Surely, is it Matthew? He's going to be doing it. Let's see what Matthew can do. He's getting a lot of stream time tonight, is WR Matthew in qualifying. Let's hope that it's not a curse for him, because he has already invalidated 1 lap. Let's see what he can do over his next lap. The more times he invalidates, the more it's going to cost him big time when it comes to the pressure towards the end. And like you've quite rightly said already, Ryan, is that the track evolution here, it's massive, and you don't want to be putting so much pressure on the end, because it could cost you massively anyway. If you've got a couple of smooth laps in and you feel confident around the track, it's a bit better for you.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the drivers on the cold tyres at the start as well. The track is not what they're used to as well, because obviously they practice in different conditions. And there's Anime going right off the track there, and I definitely said his name wrong, and I will look back on how to pronounce that for him. But everybody on outlaps at the minute. WR Matthew actually though is on a fly and sent a purple middle sector is the AlphaTauri, and he's looking to actually score some big points after a bit of a disaster at Austria after that spin. He got involved in another incident. That's a massively missed apex there for Matthew. But Austria was not a strong point for him, and it was looking good in pre-season. And there we go. It's a 127.627. After missing that whole last apex, he's still got a lot of time in that lap. So that's promising signs for the AlphaTauri. 8 minutes left of this session. He'll be feeling a bit more confident now.
Yeah, Amin has invalidated at that time. I'm guessing that's what you mentioned earlier on, going really wide off the track. But that is quite a confidence boost there for Matthew. WR Matthew up into P2. But let's see what M Racer can do as he rounds this middle sector through turn 9, through turn 10. And he's quite close to that apex. Turn 10 can be really, really tricky. You miss that and you can, well, it messes you up the whole of that back straight or middle straight, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it really affects the momentum and the speed, and the apex speed you carry obviously is so crucial around Bahrain, especially through that middle sector, can gain you so much time. And again, M-Racer obviously not purple middle sector, because if you can catch him, I'm back, WR Matthews onto the 105s through that middle sector, so this could potentially be for a top 5 spot for M-Racer through the final corner now. Nicely done, actually hits the apex there, up into the line now, opening DRS. See what the Red Bull man can do. Can he challenge that top 5? He can. Goes into P4. This is where the track's starting to vamp up a little bit more now, and times are starting to come in thick and fast.
Yeah, just, well, 7 minutes left of qualifying remaining. 2D is on a lap in the Aston Martin as he comes down the back, or the middle straight. DRS wide open as he comes down to the breaker boards there. He just about clips the apex through turn 11, and there is his teammate, McCabe Sam, spinning just ahead of him. I wonder if that's put him off at all. He's quite wide through into turn 13 there, but he is quicker on this lap, but only just. I don't think it's going to put him too high up, maybe into where his teammate is, but there goes Elite. Even quicker still, a 127.4. Wilson posting 127.5 there. And across the line for 2D, it's P14 for him, just in front of his teammate. Who else could go on board with? VSR Finn is coming down that back straight now, getting past a McLaren, which I'm guessing will be Axe F1. Into the final 2 corners goes the Alfa Romeo driver. Well, full on power down the start-finish straight, and across the line, it's P10 right next to his teammate.
Yeah, it was nicely done indeed there from Finn. And yeah, nothing much to say about that. Finn, again, one of those drivers I feel like who could have certainly delivered a bit better this season. But it's obviously early days, and obviously room for improvement to find for the VSR driver at the minute. And he'll certainly be looking at ways to improve, because certainly had one of the favourites to be certainly challenging for the top 5 at least in this WR season. But unfortunately, it's just not gone his way at the minute. And a lot of drivers on their in-laps at the minute. Nobody really flying, apart from Max in the McLaren, down in P18 at the minute. Really struggling through that middle sector. Missing that apex again, crucially. And through turn 9 and 10 once again. This is where a lot of time can be found. And he's done that very, very nicely, has the American. Opening up the DRS, going under the DHL board, and through this left-hander. This is where a lot of time, again, I'm saying this, can be gained on the power, especially as a lot of the drivers do tend to lose traction there. But he's absolutely nailed that time round, and it's looking very good for the American. 3.5 temps up nearly for Axe, and this is looking tidy. And it's certainly going to put him inside the top 10, possibly, if he can find some time in this final corner. And he's done that nicely, carried good apex speed again, using all the track available to him, opening DRS again. What can Axe do? Surely it's into the 27s. It is, and it's up into P8. A very good final corner, and that was a very tidy lap indeed from the American.
Great lap time for Axe then. P8 for him, across the line for PSR Connor, and he puts in P6, so he's going that a little bit quicker as well. But at this moment of time, there is only 2 drivers out on track, and they've just finished their qualifying lap time. However, there is a Red Bull popping out of the pits. I wonder if that is WR Smokey. We've not seen him, spoken about him at all really so far in this race, this qualifying session. And WR Smokey there, down in P13, 4/10 away from FRA Elite, who he was very, very close with on pace last week.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I mean. The sprint qualifying, like I said earlier, is going to be very, very interesting how all of these drivers approach. Because there is points available for the top, I believe it's the top 3, or is it even more than that? It might be more. But anyways, it's certainly going to be interesting how some of these drivers approach it. Matthew in particular, again, he was very, very strong in that Spa race because the fuel was so much lighter. Thank you, Crispy. It's the top 8 that get points. So yeah, there's points on the board, and drivers will be trying to get the maximum from it. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, will Matthew go aggressive like he did at Spa and dominate the race like he did, or will he have to be a bit more cautious and think of the bigger picture for the actual big scoring points in the actual race? We'll have to wait and see, because this is definitely going to be a tactical approach from all these different drivers here.
Yeah, it's brought a different dynamic to us. Smokey obviously has to be part of that dynamic anyway. But you're right. What does Matthew Wilson? They're both seen in that social race what they can do. But how do we expect Elite to handle this? Championship leader, expected champion. I think from a lot of people's lips, they're expecting him to win. But I don't always think that that's the way.
Yeah, that's the thing. You never know how this will all play out, and you can see them all fighting on this outlap already. Elite, and I believe it's an Alpine of Smoke. Is it Smoke? No, PSR Nick. No, Smokey. No, I'll get him all the cars wrong here. Definitely not them two. Probably Wilson. It was Wilson in the end. Those two. All the colours look the same on my screen, so yeah. But anyways, Elite's obviously gonna try and foment his place obviously on pole. I feel like he'll definitely be even more aggressive than he was at Austria on the opening laps, because obviously lighter fuel loads and all of that in place. So I wonder how it will all unfold, that's for sure. But I don't know. You can't predict these things, and I hope to see how it all plays out. But another good performance is Chandler Saito at the minute, up into P3. Remember, it's Austria qualifying with Martin. The two McLarens are absolutely hopeless. All the way, they were both outside the top 10, I believe, and now Chandler seemed to have found some good pace here for Bahrain. Maybe the track just suits him a lot better compared to Austria.
Maybe it's good to see Chandler do as well as he has, seeing as I think Bahrain last season in Tier 1, he had a relatively good race as well. But it said it was purple for WR Matthew as he crossed the second sector time, but I don't know if it's going to be quicker across the line. It is. It's agonisingly close to Elite again, but not close enough. Who else can we go on board with? Is Finn going to be... No, he's a bit too far back. WR Lucas is even further back, so let's go back on board with M Racer as he rounds 13 with a Ferrari all over the back of him as well. That could be PSL Connor trying to get in the way, and he's pulled out of his lap to go again. So that's interesting interested in itself. Might be able to go back on board with Finn now as he comes down the middle straight. I'm sure there's a few drivers still to surprise us, Ryan.
Yeah, for sure, and that's the thing. Surprises always happen, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this last lap is all going to play out. Because remember, Placky as well, he had a very good pre-season race here at Bahrain. He was fighting with Martin and all the other drivers as well for the race win. I believe he was on for a podium at least before his incident. That's W. Wilson going well off the track. Oh, it's a bit of desync there for Wilson. I thought he went straight off the track and missed his braking point completely, but never mind. He's up on his time, but only marginally here, so he's got a lot of time to find in this final corner compared to his other laps. Elite has backed off, crucially for him, and that could be worrying signs if other drivers around him are improving. Wilson coming around the final corner now, up to the line now. What can Wilson do? It's not looking too good for Wilson to go snatch pole, and he doesn't improve through that final sector. What a shame that is for Wilson, because he was flying through that first sector again. Chandler Saito, he's down on his time, so a lot of drivers struggling to find some pace here right at the end of qualifying.
Yeah, there's a few of them. We'll have to go on board with M-Racer as well in a minute. What can he do? WR Smokey could only get to P14 with a 127.7, but it's a lot closer to the sixth place man of Chandler Theater. But is he going to improve? The McLaren man does. It's P2 for Chandler Theater. Where did that time come from? Because he was down in Sector 2. That is incredible from the McLaren driver. M-Racer then is pulled out of his lap. So is that it for qualifying? Tootie's popping into the bits as well. Chandler Theater, second place. Wow.
Yeah, wow, indeed. That's what I would say. That he pulled that out at the death, and he's found some time in that final sector out of absolutely nowhere, and that's really caught me off guard because I was on board with him and didn't look like he got anything special in particular. Must have just carried a bit more apex speed than he did, and must have got a bit better traction or got a bit lucky on an exit somewhere. And yeah, that was a cracking lap and a cracking effort there from Chandler, and he's just marginally beaten WR Matthew there by 2 thousandths. So that just shows you how close this Xbox Tier 1 grid really is, and it's great to see everybody's right in there fighting with Elite now. And remember, qualifying last week, Elite did have quite a nice margin around a 10th. This time round, less than that, only 30 thousandths between him and Chandler. So the field is certainly catching up in the qualifying pace around here, and that is going to hopefully bring a really entertaining sprint race now to sort out the qualifying. But again, the approach may be aggressive from the likes of Chandler and Matthew to maybe put Elite off and force them down the order. But another driver who pulled out the bag as well was Placky, going up into P4 right at the end there. He had a solid final lap there and beating WR Wilson, who failed to improve, which was very surprising considering the momentum he had in qualifying.
Yeah, that is a cracking front row of the grid that we've got there. Poor Amin unable to set a lap time in the end, and starting from the back of the grid for the sprint race. But, you know, we've got 10 laps here, haven't we, for this sprint race? So it will be interesting to see strategies and everything they do for this one. And you know what? I'm going to give you an early question. Who's going to win the sprint race? Is Elite going to be the man?
Oh, well, if you have to go off previous results and whatnot and domination, you've got to go for it. You've got to go for Mr. Elite for this one. But I feel like there could be a bit of drama. I don't think there will be, but it's just a feeling in the back of my head that's saying there could be, and I feel like there will be. And I don't think he will win this one in the end. I feel like it will be. I feel like Matthew, simply because of that Belgium social race. If we have to go off anything, he looks very sharp in these kind of in conditions, shall we say? Because it's a bit different. Obviously, the fuel and load is a lot different. So yeah, I feel like definitely Matthew's certainly a favourite for me to win this race.
Okie doke. I'll trust your expert opinion. It's much better than mine. Obviously, I mean, Bahrain we've spoken about quite often as a track, but there is quite a few overtaking opportunities here. You know, we're looking into turn 1, turn 4, even if you're brave enough into turn 8, and you know, if they get turn 10 wrong, you've got that inside line there, turn 11. And the final corner. There's quite a lot of overtaking opportunities on a track when, you know, you go to somewhere like Zandvoort and you really only got turn 1.
Yeah, exactly. And this track is what I said was probably one of the more entertaining ones for racing and overtaking. That is for sure. Just looking at the tyre strategies from some of these drivers, it's very interesting. Tuddy going for the softs. Nick is going for the softs. Finn also going for the softs. Everybody else on the medium tyres. So that tells me there's going to be a lot of aggressive driving from the likes of Finn, Nick and Tuddy. They're going to try and make some places up, and this is what the sprint qualifying is all about here. It should make this very entertaining. I believe there's no formation lap, so I'll give it to you, Warder.
5 laps, 5 lights is on, and away we go for WOR. Sprint race, first time in Xbox, and it looks like it's a poor start from this Chandler Theater. He gets knocked by Placky, who goes back out to the other hand side, but FRA Elite is holding station pretty well at the moment. And this, oh, that's wide from Finn as well, but he's going strong. Chandler Sieda trying to battle his way through, and he's ping-ponging between the Alpines. And, oh my goodness, FRA Elite is holding on pretty well, heating those tyres up. But look at this. Finn, M-Racer, WR Wilson, Chandler Sieda is dropping like a heavy, heavy stone.
Unbelievable. What a start that is. Oh, it's contacting. That is. WR Lucas has been spun round. What a shame for him. And that's Tuddy as well. He's also off. Placky as well from 5th. It's all gone wrong for the AlphaTauri. And there's a battle in the midfield again. Nick and Connor going at it. Nick, he was on the soft tyres, but he's obviously switched back to the mediums. Axe, he's on the softs. So he's still looking to gain some places early on, but VSR Finn, he's had an absolute flying start up into the podium position already, and Elite is starting to check out a little bit. Matthew has got to keep with him here, otherwise it's going to be a cruise control race for Elite from here to the end. But a great start as well from M Racer, who's kept out of trouble, and he has made 4 positions up alongside him. Leopard as well. Keeping out of trouble can do you absolute wonders here, and unfortunately for Chandler, he absolutely got pushed out the way there, and there was nothing he could do about it.
The only saving grace for him is that he's still in this race at the top end, because he could have been completely unlucky, like Placky, Lucas and Tudi, who are down 14 places, 9 places and 3 places respectively. But yeah, Finn up into P3 on those softs. Can he keep those softs going longer? Here comes WR Wilson attacking Leopard. He's lost the position. He tried to send a W on Leopard. Let's see it from his point of view. There's a little bit desync, I think, on his side. So let's go back as we see Connor and Pisty fighting away. And in the background, Axe and Pierce on Nick having a little bit of coming together as well. Sider and McCabe Sam. You can't really go too wide through there, but they're trying everything they can at the moment.
That's a dive bomb from Cypher if I've ever seen one. McCabe holding on around the outside. That's beautifully defended from the Aston Martin. Cypher driving really frustratingly at the minute. This is not where he's used to being. Remember, he was on the podium last week, and he's now down in P14, and that's Axe who's made a huge mistake. And McCabe Sam says thank you very much. He's now up into P12. A great move indeed. Remember, the soft tyres die off very, very quickly around here, and that is already being shown as Finn is falling back, but he has closed in already on Matthew, and Matthew has been dropped now from Elite, both using quite a lot of the battery. Matthew down to 40%, and Elite also down to 40%, so both of them using their ARS to full effect here to drop one another, and they've done so, and they've dropped the pack from behind, and those two are absolutely clear of the rest of the field at the minute.
They've done exactly what they need to do, and they're only going to get quicker. And VSL Finn is going to have to start looking after those tyres probably about lap 6, aren't he? That's when he's going to have to start really thinking about not being aggressive and attacking. But Cypher getting very close. Placky and Lucas swapping positions in the background. Let's see if that is still going on. At the moment, they're still side by side. All the action we're getting is towards the back of the grid. And there goes Lucas again up the inside, but is a switchback back available for Placky. They're side by side as they pop through into Sector 2, but Placky thinks better of it and stays behind WR Lucas for the time being. But we are seeing continual action. Let's go on board with Cider, or let's go back to Cider as he tries to find a way past Axe, because Axe is not the Axe we know from last week.
Yeah, that's for sure, and it's a strange one for Axe, and it's weird to think he's struggling down in P13 on the better tyres, and he's not making any places. In fact, he's falling backwards rather than going forwards, which is a real surprise for someone like him. And Cypher is applying that pressure. He's got double his battery as well here, has the American. And it's not looking good for Axe in the McLaren at the minute. And he is going to be falling backwards here even more, because Cypher is right on the end of that rear wing, and it's not looking very, very promising for him at all. And through the final corner, and Cypher's got a very good exit, looking likely now for a move before turn 1 even happens. And there we go, across the start finish straight, and that's nicely done from Cypher, and he crucially gets within the DRS range of McCabe Sam.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do, Cider. He lost McCabe Sam after Sam dispatched Axe after his mistake on the middle straight. But M-Racer is slowly catching up with Finn. That's definitely a timing I have to keep an eye on, because M-Racer is looking like he's going to try and get back into the swing of things. and get a podium from this sprint race.
Yeah, he really is. It's looking very, very promising. He's got better battery than Leopard behind him. And he's got better battery than Finn in front of him. So it's looking very, very promising for the Red Bull man. After a poor qualifying, this sprint race has really revived him in a sense. And he's going to be on for a very good race start. As long as he finishes this, of course, and has no incidences, as we did jinx him last week, he said to me. We'll hopefully not jinx him this time around. And he is safely into that DRS now of Finn, who is really, really struggling on those soft tyres, which have now completely fallen apart. As you can see, Axe has now fallen behind Cypher even more. He's nearly without DRS again. So the soft tyre call from those guys really hasn't been worth the risk.
Definitely not, unfortunately for them. But M-Racer, it's still the initial get-off down the start-finish straight is in Finn's hands. And M-Racer slowly, but there's going to be run out of track, run out of straight for him to catch up with Finn too much, but he's now 0.5 of a second through the first few corners and then up into, well, heading down into turn 4, but there's just not enough track. I think next lap we're going to see something, but that's McCabe Sam in the background that is gone, and now he's behind Amin as well as Tudi. He has not had the best of lucks there.
No, he certainly hasn't. That's a real shame for him. He was having a cracking race up into just behind, just ahead of Cypher. So maybe those two might have collided into turn 1 there, and that is just really unfortunate. Such a commonplace, for instance, like that to really happen. Chandler as well. He's on a little bit of a comeback drive here, up to 70% of the battery. He's looking very strong to really attack Wilson here. But nothing going for him at the minute. Obviously, the gap is a bit too far behind to really do anything. He's actually fallen backwards, so he might have to use some of that battery, as Smokey is right behind him on 27% of the battery, though, compared to Chandler's 70.
Smokey's had a bit of a nice recovery drive from this as well. Good to see him back up into the podium. I think he was 13th after qualifying. But M-Racer up into P4, slowly catching M-Finn. It's just not enough. I don't think it's going to be this lap down the start-finish straight. Finn must be deploying his ERS exactly when he needs to keep ahead, but it's getting closer. Cypher now, the fastest man on the track in P12, just showing that he might be out of position there.
Yeah, that's really real shame for Cypher at the minute, and down in P12, not looking good at all, and he's struggling with the battery as well. Really surprising from him. He was one of the favourites for this title, and it's not looking good for him at the minute. Is for Cypher, and it's a real shame for someone of his quality as well to be struggling at the back. Is really surprising for myself, but he is pulling a little bit of time back through this middle sector now, and that's probably where he'll be hoping that he gets the DRS, as it is the detection point just before the corner, and I think he has just about got in there, so that's going to save him a bit of the battery now. But got to say, credits to Finn, who's holding on quite nicely from M-Race at the minute. The tyres certainly have fallen apart for the soft tyres, but he is holding on to them with all his life at the minute in P3, so he's looking very strong. But again, Elite has pulled over 2 seconds to Matthew here, so he's looking very strong.
Elite is just showing another level at the moment, which is great to see, but also probably not great to see for the other drivers on the grid. They probably fed up of seeing Elite at the front. But here comes M-Racer. Is he going to be closer? It actually looks like Leopard might be the one that makes the move out of everything. He's got some great to see Leopard so feisty in the races, because towards the end of last season he was just mid-pack and not really showing much, but he's really come alive these first 2 races of the season.
Yeah, he has, and it's great to see this side from Leopard. We know how aggressive he can be. He's a very aggressive driver, and he knows how to defend the car, and he knows how to attack a car, and that's what makes Leopard so brilliant when it comes to the race. He knows how to get the job done, and he's certainly applying that pressure to M-Racer now, and M-Racer, I feel he needs to get a move on now. He can't be sticking behind Finn for very much longer, as Leopard will take the opportunity, if he's not careful, to get past him. We could see, remember Lewis Hamilton against Lando Norris at Hungary. He was sticking behind him, and then when Max Verstappen turned up, Lewis had to go for the move, and that's what I feel like is happening here a little bit. Because M-Racer's now right onto the back of VSR Finn. He's less than 4 tenths behind him now, and it's looking likely on this main straight, M-Racer will get the move done.
Yeah, we could see a lovely 3 wide into turn 1. Imagine the scenes if that happened. Wilson is in there as well. Chandler Sieta, like you mentioned, is having a little bit of a comeback, trying to get himself back into the swing of things. But they are being held up by VSR Finn right now. And as they come down the start-finish straight for the 8th time tonight, I don't think Finn's going to hold out much longer. Here comes M-Racer up the inside. There's nothing he can do to hold that out. Will Leopard follow suit? He thinks better of it. But I don't think it will be long for Leopard to get past his Alfa Romeo teammate as they head down the second straight into turn 4. Is he going to make the move? I think it's too far back.
Yeah, Leopard knows it's crucial for him to get past Finn at the minute. He knows he needs to get past his Alfa Romeo colleague, because otherwise, in theory, M-Racer should just pull away from the pair of them, and that won't be good news for the race, because if Leopard has to get past his teammate on the same tyres, his life becomes a lot harder. So if he can get in front of his teammate now, it'll save him a lot less hassle for the actual race. But Finn is doing a hell of a job at the moment, really holding on to those tyres, and it's not making it as easy for his teammate here, because with the DRS he can actually defend quite nicely, but he is using some of that battery, and he is struggling to keep with the Red Bull of M-Racer.
Lucas is going off back in the background there as well, but I can't keep my eyes off this Alpha battle at the moment. It's very close, and Wilson is looking like he's trying to get a hold of things as well. M-Race is slowly pulling away from VSR Finn, but Finn has got the beauty of being able to pick up the DRS down the start-finish straight, and hopefully, well, he will be hoping that will help him defend. But look at that, Wilson, Chandler Sieta, and Leopard all agonisingly close. This is going to be big. Let's go at it from Wilson's point, Chandler Sieta's point of view, because I don't think they're going to be able to make any moves down there. Oh, he's gone up the inside, and that is Leopard into P4. What a move from LCR Leopard to dispatch his teammate, and Chandler Sieta there gets a penalties for his trouble, and Wilson's following suit as well. He's not hanging around, but Finn is fighting that one.
Yeah, it's right around the outside. They bang wheels, and there we go. Wilson gets the move done. Down the inside is that Chandler trying to follow through. My goodness me. That would have been an optimistic move if I've ever seen one. And here comes Smokey. Is he going to go around the outside? It's all kicking off on lap 9 out of 10 here. And oh my goodness me. I thought we were going to see 3 wide potentially into turn 1 there. But unfortunately for me, it did not pay off. Leopard, what a move. Late on the brakes, down the inside. That's how you get the job done. And wow, I was not expecting that from him. And yeah, gotta say, you expect the unexpected with Leopard. And is that Zhao and Tudi have collided through the middle sector. What a shame for them too. But this is good news for M-Racer. Actually, no, it's not good news, because Leopard is right behind him. And we could see Leopard sealing away a podium here from M-Racer.
M-Racer's got someone as cool, calm and collected as LCR Leopard behind him. That's probably not what he wants to see in his mirrors, to be honest. Can he do anything into turn 1? He's only got a few opportunities to do it. Defensive goes M-Racer, and a little bit of weaving to try break some sort of toe before the DRS opens, but there's just not going to be enough room. There's a lot of changing behind. Chandler Sieta has dropped massively off, but there's just nothing Leopard can do on M-Racer just yet. Can he get all these corners right as they go into turn 4? He's lost a little bit of time. I don't think it's going to be enough, so he's going to hold off one more time. But we've had Chudi and Joao battling and colliding at turn number 8, and they're getting close again. But look in the background, Pisti and Connor swapping positions, and nose to tail. Connor's trying to find anything. Up the inside goes the Ferrari man on the Haas driver. He's up there. Has that position been gained? It could very well be. Smokey's pulling away in the foreground there as well. But Pisti having to concede the position and getting a little knock from the Williams of PSR. Nick in the background, and Scyther still unable to get anywhere through all this. And Finn is down to 10th place. Could even be 11th place now for him. Such a shame for him, but let's go on board with this man as he's going to cross the line and take victory. We've barely spoken about Elite this race. I say this race and what is going on, but he's won it with some style, as that is VSR Finn around. WR Matthew will take P2. M-Race is going to hold on from a very, very feisty Leopard for P3, with Leopard P4, Wilson in P5, Smokey in P6, Connor in P7, and the last point scoring position there goes to Pisty.
Yeah, very nicely done from Smokey. Definitely the driver off the sprint qualifying, up 8 positions there. So that was a great recovery from Smokey after really poor qualifying. He'll be very satisfied with that performance. And yeah, that was very, very high level drama on those last 2 laps. That's where it all kicked off. And that's what I was waiting for the whole race. I was hoping for that the whole race, but maybe we'll sit in the actual one now. That was maybe a little teaser from the drivers. But now they're really going to give it to us for this real one. But yeah, Elite absolutely dominated that sprint qualifying. 8 points, which will be huge for the championship in this fixture, for this calendar as well. And obviously missing rounds potentially. It's always crucial to score as many big points as you can.
Definitely is. Elite then is your winner, with Matthew in second on the podium, finishing rounding out in with M-Race a Leopard. Wilson, Smokey, Connor and Pisty rounding out the point scoring positions. In 9th place was Nick. Then it was Cyther, Nico, Finn, Placky, Lucas, Chandler Cieta, Axe, Amin, Joao, Tudi and McCabe Sam rounding out the rest of the finishers here in the sprint race of WOR round 2. I mean, if that's going to set up the race, we could be, you know, I don't want to say Elite's going to run away with it, but we've got a lot of battles through in other positions, which could give us a really, really interesting race.
Yeah, that is for sure. And we saw the drama on lap 1, turn 1 there. I feel like we could see it again. Remember, there's no formation lap. So that's going to play another factor into this one. And I'll be really intrigued to see if we see something like that again. I feel like we possibly will, especially from Matthew, because he'll want to get on down the inside of Elite, and he'll want to keep him behind, because we saw what Elite did. He took advantage of already fighting, and he pulled away from there. And that's probably what will happen once again if these drivers don't play it smart and don't be aggressive enough at the right time. So I'm really intrigued to see what will go on here, and I hope that Elite doesn't have as easy as a race as he just did.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I am going to try and get this video that is kindly done by WR every week to shown, and before the race. Obviously, usually it happens when the formation lap is happening, but I feel like we can get away with it because they've not hit A yet. So we will. So yeah. So round 2 of WR season 13 takes us to Bahrain. The track was F1's first venture into the Middle East, and it was built on a former camel farm in the desert of South Manama. Last season, in season 12 on the Xbox Tier 1, PSR Square was the victor, and the Bahrain International Circuit is 5.4 kilometres long. It has 15 corners in total, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, with 3 DRS zones. And the track really offers a fair few overtaking opportunities. Turn 1, 4 and 11 will probably be the likely points, as we've said before. Some incredible performances in the past here in Bahrain, but this one really stands out. Jake Benham battling with the best. Nicholas Longue hunting him down in the last lap, and looks like he's made a perfect dummy into turn 11. They continue side by side through turn 12, and then 3 into turn 13 does not go. Barry Boramond tries to go up the inside, both Jake Benham and Nicholas Longue, and it just doesn't work. And Barry Boramond goes spinning. I mean, that's the sort of action we're kind of expecting tonight, isn't it? We're expecting someone. I don't want to say to be desperate, but I'm feeling M Racer is going to be trying to take as much of an advantage as he can. I'm picking on M Racer because I know he's probably not happy that he couldn't get over. He couldn't overtake on a fair few positions. But who's going to win the feature race? Because the start is just going to be upon us.
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like, again, it'll probably be Elite. So I'll keep it short and sweet this time, and hopefully you can get on with it.
5 red lights, sorry, and away we go. FRA Elite looks like he's got a good start, and as done M Racer in the background. Elite having to go defensive on WR Matthew, though. Matthew could get into the lead as they go into turn 1. Matthew has got the lead. He is on the softer contact. Elite's gone a bit further down. Pisty is up the inside. Where has he come from? And WR Wilson trying to get through on M Racer as well. M Racer's had an absolute shocker. He must have got contact somewhere. And in the background, Finn is around. And it's still going on.
Yeah, oh my god, there's another contact between Lucas and Cypher there. It's all kicking off. All these drivers on that much harder compound. It's like ice on this track at the minute. And they have got no temperature whatsoever. And here comes VSR Nico down the inside of M Racer. It's been a dreadful start for the Red Bull man. He's gone from 3rd all the way down to 8th in a space of a few corners. Unbelievable. He's now fighting back down the inside. And he's got back past. But this is not what M Racer expected. Nor did Leopard. Remember, those two were 3rd and 4th. They're now down to 7th and 8th respectively. But what a terrible start for those two. Elite had a bit of contact with M Racer because I feel like M Racer got contact from behind it as well. That explains why he got first pushed all the way down. But oh my goodness me, what a chaotic start. And WR Matthew and Pisty are comfortably out in front now.
Matthew is really putting the screw in. He's really turning it. He's trying to get away from Pisty as quickly as he can, but I can't take it. Pearson Nix made a mistake in the background at turn 13, but M Racer at the moment is falling away from LCR Leopard, who is attacking M Racer's teammate, which is WR Smokey. This is going to be, well, Leopard could very well have found temperature much quicker than a lot of the others. M Racer's gone into the pit, so I wonder if that is damage to M Racer, and the Red Bull driver is going to be absolutely fuming. WR Wilson and Elite battling away. There's so much action happening at the moment, Ryan.
Yeah, there really is. And crucially as well, for M Racer, there was no repair on the front wing. So that's a really interesting call from M Racer there. I'm really surprised about that. If there wasn't wing damage, I'm really surprised why he's coming this early. It must be either very light front wing damage, or there's potential side pod or rear wing damage for the Red Bull man. I feel like this is his race over already, but what an absolutely horrific start to his season already. A spin at Austria, and now that lap 1 turn 1 incident. What a shame for the German. But anyways, Elite is hanging on with Wilson, who was trying to close down the gap to Pisty, and it's absolutely crucial for him to do so here, because 3/10 is a lot of time, but being in the DRS and forming this train back up is absolutely crucial for their race. And Smokey 2 seconds back from Connor, who's right behind Elite now.
Yeah, this is, you know, Connor looked like he had the measure of Elite at certain points through this. Elite is really struggling to keep up with Wilson. He's really struggling to get temperatures. I think M Racer does have damage. I just didn't repair. So that is the problems we're seeing. Fastest laps coming in for Wilson and Pisty there. Let's go back to, I'm looking at the positional changes, but 6 places up for Pisty, 6 places for 2D and McCabe Sam, 4 places for Chandler Theater, but Sam is getting past his teammate as well. Let's look at the tyres. But yeah, this is where the action's happening right now. Let's go on board with LCR Leopard as he's attacking Smokey. Will he go into turn 4 side by side? He's going for it, you know. Leopard takes P6 back from the Red Bull driver, and he's going after Connor now.
Yeah, he really is. And again, this is where Leopard thrives, is certainly in the race scenario. And if there's one man who can close down that gap, it certainly is Leopard. We saw that last time at Austria. He was definitely quick enough to close down the gap, and he's going to do that again. But Elite is falling backwards now, and Finn has unfortunately left the session. He's had enough, and that's him out of this out of this race. Sorry. But again, a lot of these drivers struggling with their ERS management, as Pisty now down to 5%, Matthew on 50. So he's got some very comfortable and great pace here. And as Wilson is trying to close down the gap, he is nearly in that DRS range. But we've got to give credit to Elite at the minute. He's still in DRS off Wilson at the moment, and he's doing a cracking job on those hard tyres, and the medium's obviously going to fade away a lot sooner than the hards, and it's certainly going to play into his hands sooner rather than later here for Elite.
Yeah, Matthew is being caught by Pisty, but Elite is in a, you know, he's sandwiched between some medium runners, but that's not a bad place to be when he's, what's that, near 4 seconds quicker than the closest hard runner driver. Joao and Tudi swapping places. Tudi's dropped 2 places. What is going on back there? I didn't want to really... Oh, there's too much action going on with people. They're still battling away. 14th, 15th and 16th place. Tudi might coming back at the Ferrari driver as they head into turn 4. But nothing do it on this occasion. McCabe Sam then just behind WR Lucas. But FRA Placky down to 10th place. What a poor start for him. He's going to definitely be kicking himself.
Yeah, he really is, and that's a real shame for Placky at the minute. Down in P10, definitely not what I expected from him after a good sprint and a big, good qualifying indeed. So it's a shame for him, but he's on a comeback from that horrible start, up 3 positions, and it's not looking too bad. Chandler as well, up 4 positions. So those two, keep a close eye on them, because they still have a big part to play in this race, but Leopard has yet to close down that gap to Connor. In fact, it's extended in time by over a second now, and there we go. Elite is still comfortably, well, not comfortably I'd say, but just about hanging in there to that DRS of Wilson, struggling with the battery, and Connor really needs to get past Elite at this moment in time because he has got the better battery and he's on the better tyres, and he needs to utilise these tyres now before Elite's hards become quicker than the mediums.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a case of Elite frustrating PSL Connor, but here comes McCabe Stam past Lucas. It feels like these guys need to work together to catch back up with Chandler Cieto, who's in P11, who's at the end of this LCR Leopard train. But yeah, PSL Connor having a little bit of difficulty getting past that Mercedes. FRA Elite is showing his true worth right now.
Yeah, he really is, and this is why probably a lot of esports academies are keeping a close eye on this guy, because he is honestly on another level to everybody else at the minute on Xbox, and it's showing, because if he's keeping Connor behind, who's on the better tyres, he's got the better battery, you know there's something good about this kid at the minute, and he's absolutely cruising at the minute. And he's not cruising as in a good way, but he's cruising with his pace, being just about within that DRS, and he's doing enough. That's the thing, he's doing enough to stick within the DRS of Wilson, and that's what good drivers do. They always do find a way to hang on in there and make their strategies work, or make the best out of a bad situation. That's what he's doing at the minute on the worst tyres. So it's really been a cracking drive so far. And Wilson is just agonisingly close. Every lap he is about 1 second on the dot to that DRS, and again he's just fallen short because I believe his setup's obviously a bit better for the middle sector compared to the straights, and that's where he's losing out obviously compared to everybody else. And now I feel the hards are certainly becoming a little bit quicker now, because again Elite has extended that gap a little bit now by another 3 tenths to Connor here. Compared to the last lap, it was around 3 tenths. Just before that, crossing the start finish date is around 7, so it's looking like the hards are starting to come a bit better here now. And keep a close eye on that, because Elite might start making some moves.
Yeah, Elite is looking very, very solid. Pisty's unable to do too much against Matthew. He's just running his own race. I think Matthew's quite content right now. He kind of, I don't want to say he knows he's not going to win this race, but he knows second is his to lose. Yeah,
exactly, and that's why he just doesn't want to throw it all away at the minute, and it's smart, to be fair, at the minute from Pisty as well, just hanging in there. And Matthew, again, he's just dominating this race so far, absolutely cruising. But now, finally, for Wilson's sake, he is in the DRS. So, will he hold on, is the question. Let's find out. Coming up to this final corner, it feels like it's finally his time. He's finally got into that DRS range. He's done enough through that middle sector, and that's a lot of relief off his shoulders now, because he can finally start to close the gap to Pisty here. But Elite as well, like I said, driving flawlessly at the minute to be able to stick with him, and Connor as well, struggling to get past. So it's a great effort from those guys, and it'll be interesting to see when these mediums start to fade away here, because it surely shouldn't be too far away. I'm predicting around lap 10, I'd say, is when they'll start to firmly drop off, or maybe around a lap 11 or 10. Lap 11 or 12, sorry, not lap 11 10. But yeah, Smokey as well, he's just been stuck behind Leopard ever since, and there we go, we've got a crash into turn 1 there. Tudi and Lucas have spun round, and that is a real shame for those two. Bit of a collision, and that is Lucas's race. all over now and down in P17.
That's such a shame for Lucas. I wonder if he has got damage. Let's have a look at it from this point of view. Does that damage the front wing? I don't think it is actually. But back to the top. Pisty unable to find a way through Matthew at the moment. These guys on the mediums, the tyres are still going well at the moment. They are still slowly pulling away from LCR Leopard in P6, but the rate it was going is slower than it was before. So it was about 2/3 a lap at the moment. It's now gone to about 1/10 a lap. So you're right. The strategy is starting to fit with the medium run, the hard runners now, and with 23 laps remaining. Sorry, it's FRA Elite is in a wonderful position, and you know what? Leopard could surprise us with a podium tonight.
Yeah, he could. He really, really could. I feel like he'll need a safety car. To be fair to him, to really get the result. But it's not impossible from how far he is back at the moment. But again, you never know a Leopard. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it doesn't. And there we go, Chandler Seater getting past Placky there. Nicely done into turn 1 before the corner. Easy pickings for the McLaren man, who's on a comeback drive after a shocking sprint qualifying, and that really just put him back massively. But yeah, it's not looking good for him at the minute. But at the same time, the medium runners are still doing a very, very good job of keeping up this pace and momentum at the moment. Again, Matthew just cruising at the front, not using any battery, looking after his tyres, and he's probably waiting for Elite to catch up. And is that VSR Nico's gone round? I've missed that contact, but it seemed to me that he either lost it on the curb or maybe there's a bit of contact between the two.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening off camera right now. I mean, just thinking about Elite, and obviously on the hard compound tyres, he's been helped a little bit by being in the DRS zone of Wilson for the parts of this race. That's obviously pushed him forward a little bit. If he didn't have that DRS assistance, do you think he would still? I know it's a harsh question to ask you, Ryan, but is that helped him maybe cement a victory here tonight?
Possibly, yes. That's the thing. It's hard to call these things. Obviously, there's still a lot of racing left to go, a lot of laps to play out. But yeah, I think I've got to agree with you on that one. I feel like it certainly favours him more than anything at this moment in time. But again, a lot of laps left to go, and you never know. One mistake, one error, and it could be all over for him. And yeah, at the moment, it's looking good. And again, we're in a bit of a stalemate here, I feel like. Nobody really making any moves, especially at the front of the field anyways. And again, I'm surprised that he hasn't really moved forward now. I was expecting him to be on the front a little bit more, but obviously the medium's still hanging in there at this moment in time. And again, I feel like he's just charging up the battery a little bit, as he has been using quite a bit.
Yeah, Axe is getting close to the back of McCabe Sam as well. WR Lucas picking up the first penalty of the feature race tonight. Pisty's starting to get close to Matthew as well. I wonder if Matthew's burnt a bit too much of his attacking power so far. But we'll wait and see. Into turn 11, will Axe have anything to do on the Aston Martin? At the moment, it's nothing doing. So let's go back to the battle for the lead, because Pisty, well, I say he was gaining. Matthew is able, straight line speed is looking a little bit, stronger.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it to me as well. He definitely gets the better launch off the final corner, and then Pisty really doesn't seem to close in on him as fast as you would think. But there we go, he is closing now, and he's a lot closer than he has been on previous laps. But it seems to me again that Pisty is just saving the battery, not going on the attack at the minute. Again, Connor was getting very close to the back of Elite there, but unfortunately nothing going for him. And this really surprised me there for Connor, because he had one of the better batteries off this midfield at this front running pack, and he hasn't really been aggressive enough. And there we go, Nico getting past João Pedro, nicely done into turn 1. But yeah, again, Connor really has surprised me here tonight. I thought he would have really gone on the front foot, really been aggressive and scored some really good points with Ferrari. But unfortunately for him, he's just decided to go back, take a step back, and maybe be a bit more conservative this time around.
Yeah, Wilson looking close behind Pisty as well. I think they're all managing their tyres differently. I mean, if you look at the graining doesn't seem to be so strong on Wilson's car. I can't really tell on that left-hand side, but sometimes you can see the graining as Pisti really struggling out of turn 12 into turn 12 there. He was really deep out of 11, which might have cost him a little bit of time, because he is further away from Matthew than he was last lap. Further down, yeah, you're right. Connor's he's not been able to make that advantage of the softer compound tyre to start the race on Elite just yet.
No, he hasn't, and that's again a bit surprising to say the least. But it is what it is, and again, right now this is probably the time where Elite should be quicker. I feel like this is the crossover point. Lap 11 is where we should see things spicing up for Elite here. So expect some moves, I would say, from Elite very, very shortly. Possibly the next lap or two is where I feel like he'll get past Wilson, and then he'll have to try and get past his FRA colleague, which I feel like will be a lot easier than it will be of Wilson and Matthew. But we've still got a lot of laps to go, and you never know what can happen with these guys. And at the moment, it's looking interesting. And again, a stalemate at the minute. Cypher as well, he's had a good comeback drive at the minute. He's up 2 positions in P8, so he's not having too bad of a recovery drive at this moment in time, to say the least, for the American. But again, Smokey as well, struggling to keep up with Leopard now, and Leopard seemed to me to turn up the pace a little bit now as the Alfa Romeo. Starting to close in a little bit now on Connor. Gap was around 4.5, now down to 4.2. So again, that should be another indication the pace starting to shift in favour of the hard compounded tyres.
Yeah, these guys have also got to pit at the right time. These medium compound runners have got to pit at the right time, or otherwise, if they stay out one lap too early, stay out one lap too late, then it could cost them massively on timings. Because obviously you're wasting more and more. But look at Elite. He's very, very close to the back end of WR Wilson. Is Wilson going to be able to defend with the DRS that he's got enabled? Let's look at it from FRA Elite's point of view. Has he got enough in the bank to attack into turn 1? He does not. And Wilson able to survive another lap. I mean, at this moment in time, when do you reckon these guys will be pitting, on your opinion?
Oh, that's a very tough question, to say the least, because these guys could probably go as long as they want to in this race. I would predict around lap 14, maybe even lap 13 for some of these guys to pit. But again, the undercut can be very strong around here, but going onto the hard tyres is not nice at all, especially into turn 1. With the braking into that corner is very, very difficult on ice cold hards. So yeah, it's going to be very, very intriguing, to say the least, but the hards can obviously last a very long amount of time around here. So it wouldn't be surprised me if they even pitted around this lap. Like Connor, he had a massive moment through the long right-hander. I think he got on the curb funny, and the car absolutely said nope, and he was off into the distance, off the track, and that is why he's crucially out of the DRS range of Elite now. And this is what I mean, he's been forced into using that battery, and he's not liking life at all right at this moment in time as the Welshman. I feel like we could see a very early pit stop from him in particular, and that will probably be the first man I would say on the mediums to pit will be Connor. And Elite, I feel like he doesn't have the straight line speed advantage compared to Wilson here, which is absolutely crucial around this track to make some moves. And there we go, Pisti already pitting. Will Connor follow? He does, and that's very smart from Connor as well. But yeah, Pisti, very, very early pit stop on at the end of lap 12 there.
Now, I mean, I thought Matthew would have been the one to pull the trigger to go in the pits first. This is interesting strategies coming about now with Pisti and Connor. Where do they come out in the battle of all things? I think they're just going to come out behind their teammates. Their teammates, or car teammates, I should say. But Wilson, crucially, just within the second mark of WR Matthew. But Matthew really needs to make a couple of, not to bring up a Hamilton thing, but he needs to have a couple of hammer time laps, just quali laps, putting it in, and just keep on going, because he wants to have that fresher rubber towards the end of the tyre. Surely that's what he's going to be. That's what his mindset has got to be about now. Yeah,
it really does. And on board with Pisti, he's having to fight Amine. There we go, Amine here, and this is not looking very good for him, because if Amine has to fight him, and he's obviously got better tyres at this moment in time as Amine, and it's not looking very nice at all for Pisti, because he's had to defend a few corners here, and being on the ice cold tyres, The Alpine's fully entitled to go for the move. Although he's a pit stop behind, it's actually inviting Connor to close down the gap. And surely this is the lap where Matthew pits. He does. Goes in late. Wilson, crucially, sticking out for another lap here. Very interesting decision from the Alpine driver on no ERS as well. I'm really surprised he's gone for that choice. But it's an interesting one to say the least. Let's see where Pisty comes out with Matthew here. Because Matthew should really struggle on this opening lap. And the gap should close back down once again.
Let's see how this pans out. I mean, is just still causing Pisty a few troubles. Let's look at it from Pisty's point of view from behind. There is Matthew massively in the distance, but I think, is he going to go for a move into turn one? He thinks better of it. That's probably for the best. But WR Matthews 3.9 seconds in front of the Haas. That overcut has worked beautifully for him. Obviously, they're with the help of Pisty making mistakes.
Yeah, literally. I feel like the battling, though. I feel like I didn't see the battling, but I'm presuming that's what happened. There must have been a battle between those two, of the Alpine and the Haas. There's no other explanation apart from that, because although that was a very good in-lap, I don't think it was around 4 seconds, basically, worth of time. But as you can see, Matthew is really struggling through this middle sector on the tyres, and that's probably why the gap did open up. But again, I feel that the overcut was probably the right decision. But as you can see, Pisty is closing back down this gap now, but he doesn't have the ERS. Crucially, because he was fighting the Alpine earlier on, he couldn't actually close in. But Connor is doing a very good job here. He's right on the back of the Alpine, and if he can launch off him, and he could get into the DRS of Pisty here.
Elite finally retakes the lead of the race. He's dispatched Wilson. Wilson goes up the inside. Oh, he's making life difficult for the Mercedes driver. That was very close. But he's managed to hold on for the time being on that one. And Wilson then deciding to stay out. This is a big strategy call from him. Yeah, Connor making waves, trying to get back at Amin quite quickly. But that Wilson throwing a spanner in the works for people.
Yeah, is he? He could possibly. He might possibly be going for the soft tyres. So he'll have to. If he is going for this, it'll be around lap 20 is when he'll be having to pit for those. And I don't think he will be. It'll be a very unwise decision from Wilson to try and go for the softs and make it crucially to the end here. I doubt he'll be going for that one. But again, he's obviously seen the effects of the overcut, which Matthew had on Pisty. He's probably trying to do the same on Matthew here.
Yeah, he's Wilson's trying everything he can, and to be honest, it's probably good that he's sticking with Elite, who's well, he's showing pace. He's pulling away a little bit. He's got the, he is one of the fastest guys we'll see on the Xbox side of things this season. And if he keeps within the DRS, just keeps plodding away, exactly what you say. He's going to be attacking Matthew when it comes out. And did Elite just feign a pit stop there to the guy behind? And that is Axe out of the Grand Prix. Is that going to be a safety car? Wow. Strategies are going to change. Has Wilson somehow managed to make something happen out of this?
I think he has. I think he's sort of got away with it. Crucially, he's ahead of the safety car. So that's big news for him, and that's massive for this race. And I don't think it's going to be good news for the likes of Smoke, Matthew, Pisty, or Connor here. I feel like those guys surely have got to pit again. They will not want to be on basically older hard tyres compared to everybody else here, and they'll be right at the back of this grid. They've either got to take a gamble and go for and stick out, or they go and pit again for either fresh softs. That's literally it, because you only get one set of medium tyres, I do believe, for this race. So yeah, this is really interesting to say the least now, and how this race will play out. I'm really surprised on how this has all played out now.
This is I mean, I don't really know how to describe. Obviously, Axe never, he didn't do that on purpose at all. We're not saying that at all, but that has caused a massive strategy. He's going to be frustrated with himself for crashing it there, because he wasn't. He could still have got points himself, but yeah, frustrations ahoy, definitely for him. Wilson, elite pit. Oh, I mean, what do you do in this situation? Because I feel, obviously you've mentioned. I mean, if you were Matthew, what would you do? Other than
Ooh,
cry.
I'd definitely pit, pit for sure. Wilson is going for the soft tyres. My oh my, this is a brave call. How is it? It's gonna be near impossible for him to make it to the end here, surely. And Matthew stays out. That's obviously the right decision for him, clearly. And he crucially gets in front of Elite here. And that was huge for his race. But is he going to be able to hold on? I don't think so. This is mental for this race now. I think Connor has had to stay out. I think there's been a bit of an incident between them two. Connor and Smokey have got a 5-second penalty. It was just Connor, actually, who got a severe collision with Smokey here. So that's a big 5-second penalty for his race. And he is not happy with the Red Bull man at all. He's trying to get alongside him and probably do what Fernando Alonso did to Yuki Tsunoda of Austria, wave the finger at his car, because he certainly isn't happy with the Red Bull man at all there. So that'll be certainly one for the stewards. And yeah, he's clearly not happy. I feel like maybe Smokey has illegally overtaken Connor there.
That is frustrating. It's pit lane exits. I've seen wonderful things from this game, unfortunately, but unfortunate for Connor, but he's got a lot of work to do. I mean, 12 laps. I mean, the hards are going to come back to them. I mean, if Matthew keeps with Elite like Elite did with that front train, he's got a chance of attacking later on in the race. But there is no way you can explain how this race is going to finish. It is going to be an absolute slog of 13 laps we've got remaining here.
Yeah, exactly. And that is mental, to say the least. And how this is all this was not part of my plan of what a dramatic race this could be, and it's really exceeded my expectations. I told you Bahrain would cause a bit of drama, and it has this time around. And Bahrain's usually never really wanted to bring out a safety car, but for some reason, WOR Xbox, there's always one. There's always one for this race, and it's happened again. And I wonder if it'll be as chaotic as the social race we saw in pre-season. Let's find out how this all plays out. But Wilson, we've got to keep a close eye on him. He is going to be going right for it from the get-go, and he's going to need to pull out of the DRS range as well, remember, from the get-go. He cannot afford to be behind Elite or Matthew for any longer than 2 laps maximum. He's got to be gone out of the DRS, and that will be him over. That is for sure. And if he doesn't do it, good luck to him for the rest of this race, because it's not going to look good.
So we've got the top 3 drivers all on different compounds of tyres. Work that one out, and it's crazy to think what's going to happen when the safety car comes into the pits. Lucas is putting on a new set of tyres there. PSR Nick and M Racer a long way back, so I doubt we'll see the safety car in this lap. But you know what? This might have saved M Racer a little bit. He's got the pace to get himself some points.
Yeah, he has, and this is the lifeline he needed, and he's got a bit of work to do. But in theory, he should get back into this train, and he's on good medium tyres, by the way. He's really on good medium tyres, so it's not too bad for him, to say the least. So he's still got a bit of a chance here as M-Race to score some points. People ahead of him have got penalties, just Connor actually, but he's got a lifeline, a big lifeline, and he should just about get into the DRS. I believe he was a lap down near enough, but now he's crucially within the DRS range, and this will be good for his race, and he could still get points if he's smart on this restart, which isn't happening yet. So the safety car out for another lap here. This is giving the likes of Nick and Lucas a big opportunity here.
Yeah, we'll be racing back underway very, very shortly. People are trying to keep their tyres heated up. Is that a pit stop we see for PSR Connor? He's getting the penalty removed. He doesn't... Yeah, he's going for softs. So this is an interesting, massively interesting strategy. And I don't really know how this one is going to go. Connor going to be at the end of the grid, but he's going to be, well, with his pace, he's going to be quick.
Yeah, so's McCabe Sam. He's also followed for the same strategy route. This is probably really smart from these guys, and I really like the way they've gone for this. And this is what I thought maybe Matthew could have done as well, and they maybe should have taken that risk earlier on. But this is gonna be a feisty last 10 laps or so here of this Bahrain Grand Prix, and it's gonna be chaotic. And to the people in the chat, leave your comments, leave your thoughts in the chat room on who do you think's going to win this race now, because it's so wide open. Anyone can win this because we've got Wilson on the softs, Elite on the mediums, Matthew on the hards, but then we've got a lot of the guys on the midfield on the medium tyres, and there's surely going to be chaos between those guys. So you never know. Connor and McCabe Sam are certainly a huge threat now for this race, and they could steal a podium from all the way back.
Now, if it wasn't already difficult enough to think how this race is going to go out, McCabe Sam and Connor, like you quite rightly said, they've got a great opportunity, and all it takes is, you know, a little bit of an incident in the midfield. We could get another safety car. They're all the way back up. But talking about safety cars, the safety car is in this lap. Matthew needs an absolutely storming getaway to get this sorted. Oh God, we don't know when he's going to start. Probably be on the last corner, but he might wait that little bit longer to catch Elite out and the others behind him out. But let's look at it from Elite's point of view. Matthew has held it. He's desperate to do something, and there goes Matthew, and it hasn't really caught out anyone other than Elite. And look at WR Wilson up the inside already. Smokey and Pisty having a battle alongside each other as well. Is WR Wilson going to get up the inside of Elite? It's side by side through turn one. Is there a little bit of contact between the two of them? But Wilson's just unable to get past that Mercedes. Elite deployed everything he can. He's going to have a second bite of the cherry into turn 4, but there's just nothing to it, and it's all is at the moment. And there's some action in the background, but Ryan, I'm getting names all over the place. Wilson is looking feisty. He feels like he can get this position.
Yeah, he really is. He needed that move, though, into turn 1. I told you it was crucial on this opening lap. And here we go. A move from Cypher down the inside of Smokey. Nicely done, but Smokey still around the outside. This is world-class defending here from Smokey, and he's held him off. But, oh my god, I thought Cypher was going for the switch back into the double left. That would have been a monumental move if he was able to pull that one off. But unfortunately for him, nothing doing. But Elite, what a great defensive maneuver that was. He forced Wilson to the inside, made the angle as tight as possible. It made Wilson really uncomfortable to go for that inside line. There's nothing going for him whatsoever there. Great defending from Elite, and this is why he's leading this championship at the moment, and he's certainly looking to take the lead of this championship and extend it on WR Matthew, who's driving phenomenally at the minute on these hard tyres. Seems to me he's got them up into the right window, and he's got the grip as well. They've been able to warm up, and they're in a good window that they're aggressive enough. But here comes Elite. He's got to go to the inside line. Nothing Matthew could do about it. Nicely done. And there we go. Another move in the background. Is that Leopard going for a lunge? It is. Down the inside. He forces Pisty onto the curb, and that was a brave move from Mr. Leopard. But my oh my, what a move indeed. And now Wilson has got to get a move on.
Wilson needs that position over Matthew. I know they're WR, and surely not. He's going through this area. This is Wilson through Matthew, and now he's been set free to attack Elite. If anyone can attack Elite, it's Wilson right now because of the tyres. Matthew getting close to the back end of Wilson, but Elite is just throwing everything to pull away. But look at this, LCR Leopard all over the back of Matthew. Can we see that man on the podium again? It could very well happen. Pisty dropping back. Smokey and Scyther looking like they're trying to, well, get inside that Haas just to get past him at the moment. But Wilson, crucially, has caught within that second of Elite. Elite's got a couple of nervy laps to go.
Yeah, he really does, and Wilson's doing a good job here, but he needs to really be applying the pressure now rather than later. He cannot afford to wait around here. He's got to go for it straight away here. And now Smokey is right on the back of Pisty here.
And he's really got to apply the pressure. Again, no ERS for Pisty. Really struggling with the battery usage compared to Smokey. Obviously on the better tyres at this moment in time. And now we could potentially see 3 wide here. Because here comes Cypher. He's really applying the pressure to Smokey. He's forcing the move. And this could be 3 wide. Is Cypher going to go to the inside of both of them here? No, he's not. He's going to think better of it. But he's going to go for a cutback here. He gets past Pisty. They're side by side on the exit here. Really nice racing between the pair of them. That's a phenomenal move from Cypher and Smokey. But now they've really got to go and on the attack now and get up to the back of Leopard. But my oh my, great move from Cypher. Took his opportunity there. I thought he might have got both of them with that switchback, but unfortunately for him, he could only get one of them this time around.
I tell you what is helping Matthew in the battle for, well, possible victory here is the fact that Wilson is throwing everything at Elite, and it's causing Elite to defend and allowing Matthew to stay within that time frame he needs to possibly be able to throw an attack later on. But at the moment it's not happening, and Leopard, it looks like he could attack. Imagine this, a Leopard could very well beat P2 at the end of this race. Imagine a Leopard versus Elite. What an end of the race that would be as well. But Wilson at the moment looking very, very racy on those softer compound tyre. Wilson is, well, going to throw everything he can at Elite. And look how close he's getting down into the final 2 corners.
Yeah, but again, it's the ERS usage of Wilson which is going to cost him this race win, because, and again, the tyres as well are going to fall off. This is where the pace advantage, which Elite clearly has over Wilson, is going to come into play. He's on 30%. He knows he can let Wilson by here. It doesn't make a difference to his race because he knows he's going to get past him, because he's got an engineer clearly telling him the information. Wilson's got no ERS. You're okay to let him by because there's lots of laps to go, and I don't think Wilson's really going to be able to pull away from him. And there's that Pisty round. It is into turn 1. What an error that is. I think there was a bit of contact between him and one of the drivers. I'm not sure who exactly. Maybe it was Cypher or Chandler Sayeta. But there we go. Leopard getting past Matthew. It's all kicking off. And there goes Connor getting past Nico. And there goes McCabe Sam getting past M-Racer. It's all kicking off on lap 23 here. My oh my. M-Racer was on for he was right behind Nico here, but now he's all the way back down to P13. I think again there's been contact and there's front wing damage. McCabe Sam's off the track as well. There's front wing damage for that Red Bull. M-Racer is clearly livid, and I think there must have been contact between him and FRA Pisty.
I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to look at. I was just stuck with Wilson as he's still, well, he went back behind Elite into turn 4. So we're losing McCabe Sam. There's still a yellow flag for where McCabe Sam is. I mean, I was expecting a late safety car. Imagine that as well. That would just throw everyone onto a set of softs. I'm not sure how that would have gone in the end. But WR Wilson, again, looking to attack Elite as they come down the start-finish straight into lap number 24. 6 laps remaining. Wilson is pushing. He has a look, but thinks better of it into turn 1. It's looking very much like the Max versus Leclerc battle. Sorry, I completely forgot his name. Trying to pick each other out at the right moment, but Wilson just maybe losing a little bit of grip and stuff now. But LCR Leopard enter player 3. He's thrown himself into a massive position here. If anything happens between these front 2 runners, he's got a great chance of a victory.
Oh, he really does. Leopard will be right on the back of Wilson here. He really is a threat here for this race, and he could steal a win here from Elite. If these two really start to get their elbows out, getting argy-bargy, I'm sure Leopard will just slip on through and take a potential easy race win here. But it is really, really kicking off between these front 2 now. Wilson has got no ERS, surprisingly. Elite has been able to control the pace, control his tyres, and control his ERS crucially. And that is really what is pulling him away, and that's why he's dominating this Xbox field at the minute. He can control his ERS. That was probably what his flaw was on the last game, but this game has clearly worked on that, and it's really becoming one of his strongest points compared to the rest of the field at this period of time in this race. And Matthew, again, doing a good job to hold on to that DRS crucially. Those hards are certainly starting to get a little bit better as the laps go by, but again, Leopard doing a good job, but unfortunately for him, struggling on that battery as well.
Sider and Smokey battling away. Is Sider going to go up the inside of WR Matthew? He does. There's contact between the Williams and the AlphaTauri, and that's allowed Smokey to go switch back on Sider and back up into effectively that's WR Matthew down 2 places. Scyther having a look up the inside of WR Smokey. That is very, very close, but there's no contact, thankfully. But they're going to try go side by side through probably the tightest part of the track. And Scyther and WR Smokey somehow make it through. They're still side by side as they come into turn 8. And somehow Scyther's got the position. But Smokey did not make that easy at all. WR Matthew had a sniff as well to see if he could get through. But this battling has cost them massively for the podium finishing positions here. And, wow, how are we going to top this?
I really do not know. It is all kicking off in this final few laps now, and it is really, really heating up between these two. And oh my goodness me, it's unbelievable between the pair of them. And there we go. Elite has dropped Wilson pretty much now, and it's all down to Elite now to not get any penalties or make any mistakes at all here, because at the minute he is cruising out in front. And there we go. Leopard is starting to fall back a little bit to Wilson, surprisingly, but I think he's trying to save the battery while he can, and let Wilson use every last drop of it while he saves some of that battery to potentially go on the attack. And there we go. Chandler seems to go down the inside of WR Matthew. These two getting their elbows out between the pair of them. The American being forced off the track there between the two of them. But yeah, there we go. Very aggressive battling between the two of them there. Zhao, Pedro getting a move done on Lucas. Very nicely done indeed. But wow, that battle between Cypher and Smokey. Very minimal space left between the pair of them. But that was absolutely superb racing.
Well, side by side through turn 4 to turn 8, that is possibly some of the best we will see for a long, long time. That was incredible stuff from the both of them. WR Matthew holding on to P6 for the time being. He's hoping those hard compound tyres really start to come to life compared to the mediums very, very soon. But it's running out of time. But WR Wilson is massively out of reach to FRA Elite right now. And Leopard, and there's someone lost it, and that's Nor Joao now in P15. Must be contact somewhere through there. But Leopard is going to make short work, I think, of WR Wilson down the start-finish straight. The Alpine driver is in big, big trouble.
Yeah, he really is. Elite has decided to use some of that battery now because he knows Leopard was really just using Wilson, and now it's his time. And there we go. Leopard's going to easily cruise past. Wilson going to put up a little bit of a fight there. Nothing he can do about it, let's be honest. And there we go. Leopard cruising past, using all that battery up to maybe try and close up to Elite. That this will be where it's interesting now. Will Leopard have the pace to close up to Elite now? This really tests how quick Leopard is in this race.
And well, in this season, in this game at all, in general, Leopard has been, being able to be in the right place, right time, picking off areas. I must get lottery tickets this week because I said Leopard might get a chance for a podium, and he's in that position right now as long as he keeps it clear. But in the background, Matthew's still holding station at the moment. M-Race has retired. He's popped into the pits lanes. He's not had the night he would have wanted at all. But it's great to see Leopard still fighting away at the top end of the grid in WOR. Let's see if he can hound Elite, probably one of the hottest prospects in league racing and esports racing right now. But with only just over 2 laps to go, he's not got a lot of time to do it in.
No, he certainly doesn't, but this is really getting very, very interesting, to say the least. Leopard has not lost any time, but he has gained a marginal amount, around about a tenth, I'd say, in total. So if he can pull out a tenth or two, he needs at least another 2 tenths in these last 2 laps to really get pressure onto Elite. But Elite's feeling the pressure. He is using the battery. He knows Leopard's very, very quick. Through that middle sector in particular, that is where the time was gained. And on the straights, it seems to me, Elite has the advantage over Leopard, crucially. But in the corners, that's where Leopard has the upper hand.
WR Smokey and Scyther really need to start or continue battling away for Matthew to stand a chance, I think. He's really starting to lose ground. Those mediums are still working really, really well for the rest of the grid. And Matthew was really put in between a rock and a hard place when that safety car came out. He'd already pitted. There was just nothing he could do. The other driver who was with him is actually out the race, Pisty, who was early doors leading, and Pierce O'Connor in P9. The other driver who really worked well was WR Wilson. That really fell in his strategy right there. But at the moment, Matthew is just clinging on to WR Smokey. And that mistake through turn 10 there is probably going to help Matthew for that a little bit longer.
Yeah, really will do. And Matthew's just holding on. I feel like the hard should certainly start to pick up a little bit more pace about now, because remember they've been on around, I'd probably say around 8 laps probably in total off their their medium tyres, sorry, in retrospect of actually doing racing laps. So it's interesting to say the least. The medium should still be very, very sharp at this moment in time, and you can tell Matthew really is just holding on for dear life at this moment in time, not to lose as many big points. But again, Elite's now showing his quality. He's pulled another 4 tenths now on Leopard this lap, so he's really put his head down and got to work. And there's nothing separating Elite from this win here, unless there's a big mistake.
Oh, Chandler Theater, what have you done? Sorry to cut you off. He's just gone massively deep into turn 1. He might as well have been driving in Abu Dhabi at that point. And he's collected WR Matthew. Thankfully, there's no damage to the Alpha Tauri, sorry. But it's just cost Chandler Theater some big points. He's now in P11. And you have to wonder if at that point, you know, with such a good race, would you just sit behind at that point and just be happy for the points?
Yeah, I think you would, but I think we've got to keep a close eye on here on Cypher. He's onto the back of Wilson now. Wilson really struggling on these soft tyres. Cypher may be able to steal a podium away from WR Wilson. It's not over yet. We've still got Sector 3 to go through. You can see the grip that Cypher has. Is he going to go for the inside line through this long right-hander? He's surely got to go for it. It's his only opportunity. He has to go for a dive here. No, he thinks better off it, but he's going to get a better exit. It's going to be a drag race between the two of them. They've both got the minimal ERS. It's going to be really close. Wilson's going to force into the inside line. Cypher, he's going to make it difficult. Is he going to go for it down the inside? Wilson makes it down. Oh, they touch on the final corner. Smokey's going to steal it. Smokey's stolen it on the final corner. Unbelievable scenes. Smokey has got a podium from nothing there. Unbelievable.
How has that happened? That's twice somehow Chandler Theater gets in the points as well. But that is... Oh, Scyther and Wilson. Oh, and Chandler Theater and Matthew. What have we seen at the ends? Who says Bahrain was boring? Because that was not. That is something for the ages for WOR. PSR Connor gets driver of the day. Before we even get to that, I don't even know how we contemplate everything that we've just seen. That is a huge end to the race. But we didn't even get a chance to speak. Congratulations to Elite. Taking victory with some style there. But great to see LCR Leopard as well. But like you said, Smokey, out of nowhere. What a performance to finish off the podium positions there. Oh my goodness. Wow. What have we seen? Let's do a quick rundown of the people finishing in the positions where they finished. So it was Elite, Leopard and Smokey, your top 3, with Scyther in P4. I wonder what's going to happen with the stewards with that one. That's going to be feisty. P5 then, after, an indifferent race for him, WR Matthew, P6 to FRA Placky. Great recovery drive from him. That's definitely to be said there. PSR Connor in P7 there. Wilson in P8 after the contact. VSR Nico in P9. And Chandler Theater does get a point in the end from P10. PSR Nick, Tudi, Joao, Lucas, Amin, and that's it for our finishers. M-Racer, Pisty, McCabe, Sam, Axe, and Finn all retired. I mean, I don't know about you. That was a cracking race, Ryan. I'm not sure how really to describe that one as best.
It was unbelievable, that race. That last lap, that last corner, I feel like, it's 50-50 in my opinion. Wilson was not given an inch, and he broke later, but I feel like Wilson did turn in a little bit on Cypher. Maybe we'll have to see his on board a little bit for that one. I feel the stewards could go 50-50 on this one, in my opinion. But wow, did Bahrain not disappoint? Again, credit where credit is due to Elite. He absolutely dominated this field again. He made the strategy work. He made the right call, and he was flawless, to be fair to him, on the harder tyre as well, and he kept up with everybody. I feel that's massive credit to him. Connor as well, I feel like I've got to give credit, and I can understand why the game gave him driver of the day. After doing that pit stop under the safety car down to what was it, around P19, around there, or something like, roughly around there, to get onto the points on the soft tyres, and you could see the effect they had at the end, to still get away, I believe it's P8 or P7, is a very good effort from the Welshman, considering the misfortune he had midway through that race.
I don't know about the guys that are racing. I am absolutely sweating buckets here just watching that race. That was absolutely incredible to see. Wow, what an end of the Grand Prix. I'll wait to see if we're going to get anyone in here, because it'll be great to see and speak to some of the guys that, you know, and see their point of view from it. Because, I mean, LCR Leopard, talk about a driver just being able to pick the bones off everyone else's mistakes.
Oh yeah, Leopard, every time he manages to do something, he works his magic, and if he has a bad qualifying, he makes up for it in the race. Every time it's Leopard who does that, and we saw it in Austria, and we see it again here tonight. P2, he'll be over the moon with that. I feel like the only criticism I think he'll have for himself is possibly when he was behind Wilson in that train with Elite, and he didn't go for the move sooner, because I feel like if he went for that move on Wilson while Wilson was still in the DRS, we could have really seen a good old scrap between Elite and Leopard, and I feel like that could possibly be a really good fight we are yet to see between these two. Old experience versus youth. That's what I'm seeing between those two. A man of so much experience, he can really work his magic.
You know what? Imagine those two as a team. That would have been absolutely incredible as well. You know, who says you can't? Oh, I don't want to be old, but you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And you know, he probably would have been able to tell Elite some good tricks as well. But what a crazy race. We will continue to wait for a little bit longer to see if anyone will come and join the waiting room box for us. But as an event, you know, obviously we've had the qualifying, the sprint race, and then the feature race. Who was your driver of the event?
Oh, that's a very tough question. Have to cast your mind back to 2 races, essentially. I think you got to say it is Leopard in the end, because he had a bad first qualifying. Realistically, wasn't up. Well, he was better than Austria, let's say that. And then the race, he really made moves. Him and Racer at the start, I believe they were up into P5 and 6 or something like that, around there. And then they made moves again, and Leopard just fell short of that podium. But then he got knocked back at the start with the safety on that lap 1 with M Racer. They were back down to 7th and 8th, and then they made moves again, and the safety car making the right call. I feel like Leopard, for me, definitely has earned it to be the driver of the whole event this time round.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that one at all. He was able to, you know, right place, right time, but you've also got to have the skill to be in the right place at the right time as well. So it's great to see from him. You know what? I don't want to keep on waiting for too long for these guys, mainly because my room has now hit 52 degrees, and I don't want to be. I don't want to be alive right now. But thank you for great commentary. It was incredible to be alongside you again, Ryan. It's really a pleasure to have you alongside me. Have you got any final words before we move on for the night?
Oh no, thank you again for working with you again. It was a great stream. Thank you to everybody again who tuned in. I think we peaked around 260 maybe. Again, I think it was a new record once again for us guys. So thank you to everybody, to the viewers at home who tuned in. And again, thank you for putting up with me again. And I cannot wait for Miami next week. It should be a thrilling race. And if we have to go off the PC one, there was wet weather. So could we see rain at Miami again? We'll have to wait and see.
If we have rain, maybe we should get Harvey back in. You know, the wet weather merchant that he is. Yes, that is right. It's the Miami Grand Prix for the first time as Xbox WOR Tier 1. I can't wait to be there. But if you've enjoyed this one, please come back to tomorrow night. WOR have millions. Well, I'd say millions. I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but there's loads of different tiers in WOR, and you've got some great commentators throughout. Tuesday night is no different, and you've got the likes of is it Callum G in Div 2. I think Jish will be alongside him there as well. You've got Ollie and Steve, I think, in Division 3 as well. Tier 3, I should say, sorry. So there is plenty of people out there to listen to. They're not as good as Ryan or myself. No, they're better. But there is some incredible people out there. Come back to us next week for the Miami Grand Prix to see if FRA can keep this winning streak up. Surely he's got to. Or can someone else take the championship fight to him? But for now, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.